Hi everybody, this is Oksana, and in this video I'm going to show you how to wrap a briolette side drilled bead. So that is a bead that has a hole here on the side, and you can't see it anymore because I wrapped it, but it's just going through the top from one side to the other, and it's a really small hole because sometimes these beads, especially if your bead is smaller than mine, they can have a really tiny little hole, and so it's useful to be able to wrap them using a thin wire. So I'm using a thin wire here, and this is kind of like a little pendant, but it could be an attachment that dangles from something else, or it could be earrings. There's lots of uses for these little briolettes, so I just wanted to show you one of my favorite ways that I wrap them up. So let's go ahead and get started, and I just want to say before we start that I hope if you're not already subscribed that you would consider subscribing to my channel. I post new videos every weekend, so don't forget to hit the notification bell to be notified when new videos are posted. Alright, let's get started. So the wire that I'm going to be using is this 26 gauge round wire, and mine is sterling silver from riogrande.com. I do recommend that if you're doing this for the first time that you use copper, just so you don't waste a more expensive, precious, sterling silver wire. But if you use copper, it would just be the same thing, 26 gauge round, just copper instead of silver. So you just need one piece of wire. My dog recently got a hold of this measuring tape, and now I need a new one because he partially ate it, as you can see. So the length that I cut here is about 10 inches, which is probably quite long. And the stone that I'm using is a peach moonstone. It looks like this. And the height of this doesn't really matter, but it's about 1 inch. But the only part that matters is the little hole up top. That's what we're going to be using. So whether this was really long or really short, it wouldn't really make a difference. Now, the thing about these briolette stones that have this side drill at the top is sometimes it's quite small. And so using a thin wire like this is really helpful because sometimes you can't fit a thicker wire through. And the thing about using a thin wire is that it's really floppy. So we need to somehow make it a little bit stronger for the little loop that it has at the top. So I'm going to show you what we're going to do. We're going to twist it here. So I put it through. Let me measure for you how long this end is. If you want your bail to be a little bit taller, you can do this part a little longer, but mine is it's a little bit less than 2 inches. It's about 1 3/4 inches here. So I'm bending them both up like this. And if you've never done the twisting of wires before, I recommend you practice, preferably not on an expensive wire like sterling silver, because it can take a few tries to get this twisting quite right. So we have this longer piece here on top, this shorter piece here in the back. This is going to be the front of my pendant, and what I'm doing is I'm twisting. Now you can either twist your hands or you can move the stone, whatever is easier for you. I actually usually find it easier to move my hands, but to get it started here, the stone was kind of slippery, so it was easier for me to move the stone. But we're basically just twisting these two wires together, and it helps to keep this nice angle. So one wire is not more straight. Like if I do this wire is kind of going more straight. You want them both to be at a similar angle, and that really helps get a more even twist. Because the problem that happens is one of the wires, instead of twisting equally together, one starts wrapping around the other, And then it becomes a problem because it doesn't give you that nice twisted look anymore. Now another little tip that I have for you with these twists is if you just take your pliers, I'm just gonna grab mine here. If you take your pliers and you kind of go over it, you can make it look a little nicer that way. It takes out little kinks out of it and just kind of evens everything out. Just very gently press. You're not trying to press very hard. You're just trying to kind of fix it up and get it to look nice. Now, how long this twist is going to be depends on what you're using it for. So this little briolette can be earrings, it can be a pendant, it can be a little dangle part that you attach to another piece, to another necklace or pendant. And so if it's going to be a necklace, then you probably want it to be a little bigger so that your chain or necklace, whatever you're hanging it on, fits through the bail. But if it's something like earrings or you're attaching it as a dangle, you probably just want a small little bail here at the top because it's not about the bail. You're trying to not, emphasize it. So I think that this is probably going to be tall enough for my purposes. You can see there's a little bit of wire left here, so you could make it taller. Actually, I'll make mine just a smidge taller since I'm going to just do a little pendant out of this. Just put it on a little cord necklace and it'll just be a little pendant. All right, so once you do this and you're satisfied with the length of it, I'm just gonna go over it with my pliers. I can measure this for you if you want, so you can see how mine turns out. And if you think mine is a little bit too tall, you can make yours, shorter. You can adjust it accordingly. So it's about 3/4 of an inch or 20 millimeters. That's how tall this is. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna get in here with my wire cutters. And I'm gonna cut off this shorter wire, just like this. Be careful that you don't accidentally cut the other wire, because we need that. All right, so I cut that. Now it looks like this. It's important to determine the front now and have the front facing you. And then if you have something round, like either bail making pliers, even like a little pencil or some kind of little tiny, like a chopstick, something round so you can shape your bail in a round shape, or round nose pliers, of course. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna bend it a little bit forward, and then we're gonna determine, so I'm going on a bigger part here of my round nose pliers, the thicker part, because I'm trying to make kind of a large bail to make this a pendant. And I'm just bending it in that round shape. Then I'm using my pliers to kind of finish that up. Sometimes it's easier. So once you have it as like a perfect little loop where you have it all the way around, we're gonna hold it here on the bottom like this. This is important so it doesn't move out of place. And then we're gonna take this longer wire and we're gonna start to wrap it around. Now do this really slow and really careful if you want this to look nice. Laying the wire underneath itself. And what I mean by that is you can see here you have the wire going and then it goes around and it goes under, like below. I mean below, not like underneath, but more below. Sorry, I'm just trying to describe this really well, but I'm kind of failing with words here. So here it is going around again. And the reason you want to be like really slow and careful and steady and you want to have a nice pressure here is because you don't want the wire to get kinked or to be too loose, because then you're not going to have as nice of a look here. So I'm just slowly going around, and the goal here is to get to the point where it goes below the wire that is coming out of the little holes. So we're kind of covering that up. All right, so mine just reached that because the wire that's coming out of the holes is like right here. You can kind of see. Now you don't have to go this low. I just like to do it because it kind of covers it up from the side and you don't see the wire sticking out. You can go lower or you can just go a little bit. It's really up to you and what look you like. So now we're here on the back. So this was the front, this is the back. This kind of pops back, so you got to pull on it. And here in the center of the back, we're just gonna bend this up like this, and I'm holding it so it doesn't move out of place in the front, and I'm putting it through the bail, pulling it through. And now I'm just tightly wrapping it around the bail like this. And I'm taking my wire cutters and I'm just trimming it. You'll see in a minute. I know it's kind of hard to see right now. There we go. You can see how I trimmed it here. You can see the little end, hopefully. So it's like a little loop that wraps around the bail, but the loop isn't completely closed. So we're just gonna get in here with our pliers and just kind of close up that loop like that, so the wire end is not exposed. So this is the back of the piece and this is the front. And if your bail kind of moved out of place and turned a little bit more to the side, you would just adjust it. And then these wires here, my bottom one is kind of, there's like a gap there, so I'm just trying to gently push on it to try to make it look a little bit more even. Kind of going here on the back, pulling on it here, reinforcing that little bend. All right, so I think that looks good now from the front. So here's another good look at it, really up close. And I'm just gonna zoom out. I'm gonna grab my cord necklace here, put it through the bail so I can show you how that looks. So this could be earrings. See how this is kind of a large bail here? It's perfect for a necklace because you want, especially a cord necklace, to fit through. But for earrings, I think it'd be nice if it was a little bit smaller, or if you're attaching it as a dangle to dangle from another pendant, I think this could definitely be a bit smaller. So that's it. That is how you wrap a briolette. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.